So you've made the decision. Your visa is coming through, or you've already gotten your visa in your hands. You're moving to Germany, and now the practical question, begins to feel real. What do you actually do in the 60 days before you leave your home country? What do the first 30 days on ground look like? How much money would you actually need? And if you're moving specifically from Nigeria to Germany or from anywhere with strict currency controls, what does that add on top? Today's video is a practical relocation playbook for foreign professionals moving to Germany in 2026. This works from any origin, but we will use case studies specifically with a Nigerian to Germany relocation. So let's start from the first one, the pre-departure phase. The 60 days before you leave your home country are the most important window in your entire relocation. What you do here determines how smooth or how painful your first months in Germany will be. But there are 5 things you should have on lock. The first one are your documents. Get certified copies and where required, apostille your birth certificates, university degrees and transcripts. Your marriage certificates as well if you're married, and also get applicable criminal record clearance. So the police clearance certificates and your driver's license. You have to bring 2 sets. The first is the original plus a certified copy. As of right now, German bureaucracy still runs on paper. Secondly, the financial preparation. 6 months of runway in an accessible account is the safe baseline. You will have expenses in the first months that are much higher than your ongoing cost. Your caution, that's the rental deposit of 2 to 3 months rent, your health insurance that you have to start paying from day one, furniture if you're entering into an unfurnished apartment, public transport tickets, groceries, phone contracts, and all of that. So you might have to budget around 4,000 to 6,000 euros for the first month on top of your regular monthly rent. The third one is your apartment search from abroad. So you have to start looking 60 days before your departure through different websites like WG Gesucht for shared apartment, ImmoScout24 for standard rentals, or Wunderflat for medium term furnished stay for about 3 to 6 months as a landing pad while you search for a permanent housing. Landing in temporary accommodation is often the smarter move than trying to lock in permanent housing sight unseen from abroad. Landlords in Germany often want to meet applicants in person, check documents. So a first month or 2 in Wunderflat or an Airbnb is usually the standard procedure. Next is your blocked account. For many visa categories, especially the Chancenkarte and other pathways, Germany requires proof that you can support yourself financially. Currently at about 1,091 cents per month for 12 months, which comes to around 13,092 euros in a blocked account before your visa is even issued. Providers like Coracle, Fintiba, and Expatrio handle blocked accounts remotely. So if your visa category doesn't require it, you can skip this. Then the final thing would be to close any loose ends in your home country. You might start by notifying your bank, your health insurance provider if you have any, your current employer in your home country, especially if you're living formally, your landlords, your national security, your national tax authority, and you might even have to set up a mail forwarding. If you're leaving debts or credit obligations, plan how you'll service them from Germany. And now to our sponsor. This segment is sponsored by Seefar in partnership with the Sustain program. Sustain is implemented by Seefar and co-funded by the European Union through Migration Partnership Facility, contracted by ICMPD. This video does not reflect the official position of the EU or the ICMPD. Seefar is a social enterprise that specializes in migration issues. One of their current projects, called Sustain, matches Nigerian STEM professionals with verified job opportunities in Germany and Ireland. Germany has a shortage of skilled STEM workers right now. At the same time, Nigeria has an incredible pool of STEM talents that are often underpaid and underemployed relative to what people are actually capable of. Sustain helps to bridge the gap through legal structured pathways. To know if you're eligible, first off, you'll need to be a Nigerian national with no legal impediment or to a visa or a work permit in Germany or Ireland, and you're also able to relocate within the next 12 months. Beyond that, there are 2 tracks. The first one is the early career. For people aged between 18 to 34, you need to have a relevant STEM degree plus 2 or more years of relevant professional experience. And for experienced people, that's aged between 35 to 43, mandatory. You need to have a doctoral degree in the STEM field or 5 or more years of relevant professional experience. One caveat to note though is that Sustain does not target doctors or nurses right now. So for eligible candidates, Sustain would cover visa and permit application fees, your flight to Germany or Ireland, language training and degree recognition costs, plus temporary accommodation on assistance or arrival. A capped sum of up to €600 per candidate can be used towards temporary accommodation or rent when you arrive. Before you relocate, Sustain also helps you prepare for German workplace through the accessible e-learning courses covering workplace communication, hierarchy, feedback culture, plus interview coaching and CV building. All this before you even land. And after your arrival, they also offer continued mentoring on ground. For this outreach, specifically, Sustain can support Nigerian STEM professionals who already have a visa or who have applied are on the waiting list for their appointments. So if you're still at the early stage of exploring Germany or Ireland as an option, my 4 pathway videos are your starting points. So if you or someone you know is on the path to Germany or Ireland, maybe they've gotten their visa, they've applied and they're waiting for their appointment, or they've already landed a job, send them my way. Sustain can support them through the rest of their journey. So go to Sustain. The referral form is linked in the description. One thing though is that when you get the form, there's a question they will ask about how you heard about Sustain. Please speak my name and that way I can follow up with your application. Now to the next section, that is the journey and the financial preparation. The journey itself is the easy part. The financial preparation around it is where things get a little complicated. And this is where I want to bring in the Nigeria to Germany case study directly, because currency control countries face a specific layer that other origins don't. On a general basis, you have to book your flight 2 to 4 weeks before your departure date, ideally. Overweight bags, of course, makes the fees add up. If you're moving with more than 46 kg, you might even consider looking into cargo shipping via freight forwarders rather than paying airline excess luggage rates. Then, of course, you have to pack for practicality on arrival. Warm layers if you're arriving between October and April. You have to also add prescription medications with your prescription paperwork, adapters for German plug for type C or F or whatever voltage level you have. Now, if you're traveling from Nigeria to Germany, the direct Lagos to Frankfurt route on Lufthansa is currently the fastest. Then if you're coming to Berlin, you can just take a short domestic hop, either with a train or a bus. There is also the Lagos to Istanbul and then to Berlin via Turkish Airlines. It's often cheaper and adds a few hours. Ethiopian and Qatar Airways via Addis Ababa or Doha are also viable. Of course, you have to book early. Lagos departures in September and October tend to feel very fast, with students and family traveling around that same time. So if you want to travel with cash, bringing large amounts of cash across borders triggers customer reporting requirements. In the EU, you must declare amounts of 10,000 euros or more. Wire transfers are usually the safer path. For travelers from Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria maintains a capital control that limits international transactions, and these rules have shifted in 2026 with the new CBN Foreign Exchange Manual in effect from June 2026. A few things as of when this video is being recorded. Naira-dominated debit cards has several restrictions on international spending. Some banks limit international transactions on standard Naira cards to as low as $20 per month. Domiciliary accounts which hold USD or pounds directly have far more headroom. The current daily withdrawal limit under the 2026 FX manual is up to $10,000, though weekly caps and processing fees of up to 5% for corporate or large cash movements still apply. So if you're moving significant funds to Germany, you can't just wire your entire life savings without documentation. Options include the PTA, that's the personal travel allowance. It claims via Nigerian banks, currently about $4,000 per quarter for eligible travelers, that's 18 years and above, with 75% disbursed via card or digital channels and 25% in cash from June 2026. Domiciliary account fundings in advance. If you have USD or pounds inflow, Remittance and transfer services like Wise or Grey.co were legally accessible from your specific location. This is also what speaking to your Nigerian bank about 6 to 8 weeks before your departure date. Rules and bank level implementations vary. The reality is you're going to move less capital across in a lump that you might have planned. Build a German budget around what you actually can get out, not what you have in Nigeria. For your first month's budget breakdown, aim for the same 4,000 to 6,000 euros upon arrival, covering 2 to 3 months rent caution if going straight to a permanent housing. Your first month's rent, your health insurance premium, furniture and household basics if you're going to a furnished apartment, the transportation. Currently, the Deutschland tickets are around 63 euros per month if you opted for the annual fees. And then you also think about groceries and essentials for your first 3 weeks while you find your rhythm. Now let's look at what happens in your first 30 days on ground. You've landed, your suitcases are in your flat. Your first 30 days are a specific sequence of bureaucratic tasks in a specific order. First one is to get your Anmeldung appointment booked. Anmeldung is the mandatory registration of your address at the Bürgeramt. By German law, you must complete it within 14 days of moving into a permanent accommodation. So, book your appointment online through your city's Bürgeramt portal immediately. Cities like Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, and Hamburg all use different online systems, and appointments can be booked out several weeks. So, the earlier you book, the better for you. Now, for days 3 to 7, you have to think about your bank account, your SIM card. You need a German bank account to receive salary, to pay your rent, to enroll for health insurance. Now, the practical tactic is to open an N26 account or even a Revolut account. They deliver German IBAN within minutes with just your passport, and they don't necessarily require an Anmeldung for EU citizens. For non-EU nationals, you need to check that your nationality is in the accepted list before you apply. Banks like Sparkasse, Deutsche Bank, Commerzbank, they have physical branches and they are useful for older employers who insist on traditional banking. For the SIM cards, Vodafone, Telecom, and O2 are the big 3 providers. Prepaid options like Audi Talk are the cheapest for the short term. For a contract, you will need Anmeldung completed first. So start with your prepaid one. For the 7 to 14, you have to attend your Anmeldung, bring your passport, your rental contract, the landlord's confirmation form, and you're legally required to do this within 14 days of being in the country. And then, of course, the completed form that you would use for the Anmeldung registration. After your Anmeldung appointment, you're expected to walk out with your Anmeldung Bestätigung. That's the address registration certificate, and this unlocks nearly everything else. So 2 to 4 weeks after your Anmeldung, your Steuer-ID, that's your tax identification number, arrives via mail. And what I usually recommend is that you store your tax ID on your phone as the same way you would store a contact. That way you never lose it. Between days 14 to 21, you need to take care of your health insurance registration. German health insurance is mandatory from day 1 of residency, and there are 2 systems. The Gazette list, that's the statutory, and it's through TK, AOK, BAMA, and DEACA, and others. The base rate for 2026 is about 14.6% of your gross income, split equally between employee and employer. So 7.3% comes off your salary and 7.3% from your employer. On top of that, Krankenkasse set an additional contribution. The average across insurance for 2026 is 2.9%, also split equally. So your total employee share is typically around 8.75% of your gross income. Private insurances are also available above certain income thresholds or self-employed. For most first-time arrivals, statutory is the default that they choose. So please contact your chosen Krankenkasse, provide your address and the employer details if you have them, and you register. Between days 21 to 30, your Ausländerbehörde appointment kind of has to be scheduled. If you enter Germany on a national visa that needs to be converted to a residence permit, that's the Aufenthaltstitel, you need to book an appointment at the Ausländerbehörde during your first months. The waiting times for appointments vary by city. In Berlin, it can be from 3 to 6 months for your first slot. Munich and Hamburg, they're somewhat faster. Frankfurt is somehow in between. So book immediately after you receive your Anmeldung, also within the first 30 days. Register your minor children in Kita. There are long waiting lists in most cities, so start from day 1. If you have school-age children, register them in the local Schulamt. Set up direct debits for utilities if they are not included in your rent. Get the Kindergeld application started via the Familienkasse in your if you have children. A few realities every Nigerian professional making this move should know. Credential recognition for Nigerian degrees. Nigerian university degrees are recognized through the ZAB pathway, but the process typically requires additional documentation from your Nigerian institution. So transcripts, WAEC or your NECO certificates for secondary education verification, and sometimes notarized translations. Start this at least 3 months before you plan to work in your field. The National University Commission verification is also part of the file. For Nigerian community networks in Germany, Berlin has an active Nigerian community. Specific organizations worth knowing are the Nigerian Community in Berlin, EV, a registered nonprofit providing community space and cultural programming, and then the Nigerian German Chamber of Commerce for professional networking. The Nigerian Embassy in Berlin handles consular activities. Facebook groups like Nigerians in Berlin and Nigerians in Germany are your best pre-arrival resources for practical peer advice. On the financial reality on ground, the gap between Naira and Euro purchasing power hits hardest in the first 3 months. What felt like a good salary offer in Nigeria pre-departure often feels tight in Germany once the Berlin rent, health insurance, and grocery costs start taking money from you. Most Nigerian professionals report the financial squeeze eases substantially after 6 to 12 months as they settle into the local system. For the first 90 days and beyond, the priorities shift from bureaucratic setup to actually setting in. 4 things to focus on between day 30 and 90. First off, you have to build your Seefar credit history. Every regular payment you make in Germany, be it the rent, the phone contracts, your health insurance, utility bills, contributes to your Seefar credit score. After 6 months of consistent payments, you would have a working Seefar, which unlocks better rental options and financing. Foreigners, you often underestimate how much housing markets discriminate by Seefar score. Get yours building from day one. Secondly, start work integration or job search intensification. If you arrived with a job, focus on cultural onboarding. German workplace communication style is more direct than Anglo-Nigerian norm. Feedback culture is different, hierarchy is respected, but questioning is expected. If you're still job searching, this is when you scale up applications and network activation. The language investment. If you got here on English-friendly work, German is still the biggest lever for the 2nd and 3rd year. B1 is the minimum, B2 opens leadership, and C1 opens the public sector to you. Enroll in a Sprachschule course or use apps like Babel, Lingoda, and Chatterbox. The 4th is mental health and community. The first 90 days in the new country are cognitively expensive. You're processing a new language, new bureaucracy, new social codes, new food, new weather. Isolation is a real risk. Get into a community rhythm early. Nigerian church, if that's your background, Afrobeat nights, professional meetup groups, expert organizations, sport clubs, your future self will thank you for building a network before you need it. Relocating in Germany is a project. It's an investment. It pays off if you plan it deliberately. Everything covered today is a starting point. It's not legal advice. Always verify current details with relevant German authorities, your bank, or a licensed advisor if your situation is complex. If you found this video useful, hit the subscribe button. If you're specifically making the Nigeria to Germany move and you're a STEM professional with right to work status, the Sustain referral link is in the description. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in my next video.